Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So my name is Mohammed Faisal. I'm the chief examiner at Nafi. Today we have with us uh, Ahsan Zafar, who is going for his diploma in artificial intelligence operations EduQual level 6 RQF level 6 exam. The topic you have today is orchestrating underwater autonomous vehicle network with MOS, IVP, acoustic communication, and edge computing for ocean research. You know how I came up with this topic?
No, sir, I
Essence of
don't
it.
have any idea.
When my son was a little, like when he was like 3 years old, I got like 2 years old. He used to play in the tub, right? So I got a submarine for him, right? I got a submarine for him, and he started doing fishing and all of those things, right? So there's a app I got, right? I bought something from Amazon, and I'm going to show it to you. What it does is it essentially I'm going to show you my cart. Hold on. Your account, your orders, and fishing. So what it does is basically it goes through multiple things, right? And it has a lidar to check. It's not an autonomous thing, but it goes out and has a lidar, right? So I'm going to show you this just to give you an idea what I bought, right? That's how I came up with the topic name. Right? When I was writing, so when I sit down, there's a phase I have to go through writing down the topic names, right? So this is something I bought in June of 2025, right? And this is a Deeper Pro. What it does is like it tells you, right? It tells you where the fish are right now. It does a signature, right? So if you throw it in the water, you don't have to, because when you go out for fishing, जब तुम फिशिंग करने जाते हो तुम कास्ट करते रहोगे तुम्हें पता नहीं है पानी में तो नजर नहीं आ रहा ना कि मछली कहाँ पर है, right? You can't
Yes,
see
sir.
it. So but if you have this lidar that I bought, I think it was like I bought it like for how much? Let me see. I think it was like around, this one was something like, if I have to, $150, right? So I bought it for $150. So what it does is like ये जाके scan करता है. It scans the whole area, right? And it makes the fishing easier. But it was only in one area, right? And I was not able to see properly. So मैंने अपने जो बच्चे की छोटी सबमरीन थी, जब वो 2 साल का लिया था, जब था तब मैंने उसके लिए ली थी, जब वो टब में बैठ के खेलता था, राइट? सो यूज्ड टू प्ले अराउंड इन द टब. सो मैंने उस सबमरीन के साथ इसको बांधा. वो रिमोट कंट्रोल थी. एंड आई जस्ट डिड द रिमोट टू सी वेयर द फिश आर, राइट? और जहाँ फिश थी वहीं पर फिर हमने उसको कास्ट किया, एंड वी वर एबल टू कैच अ लॉट ऑफ फिश, राइट? Right? So I came up with this thing, that this thing can be created as an autonomous. So if you want to see a video how this works, this is your topic for doing research. You can use this because ये LiDAR की जो चीज़ है, it maps the river bed, right? It was able to map the river bed and everything. So look at the video.
Want to catch more fish without big, expensive boats and complicated fish finders? Just get the Deeper Pro. Deeper is the creator of world's first castable fish finder and has been changing the fishing game since 2012. Simple design packs innovative technology in a light gadget that's smaller than a tennis ball. Don't waste your time trying to figure things out and maybe catching something. Catch for sure instead. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a pro. The Deeper Pro will take your fishing experience to the next level. It'll turn your smartphone into a fish finder with the Fish Deeper app for iOS and Android devices. Combined with the app, the Deeper Pro is really easy to use and incredibly versatile.
So मैंने क्या किया था, what I did was to make it easier. जो तुम्हारा टॉपिक है ना, orchestrating underwater autonomous vehicle network, right? उसको लिखने से पहले what I did was कि मैंने कहा यार underwater ये है, पानी में घूम रहा है, and I need to locate the fish. तो मैंने इसको छोटी सबमरीन से जोड़ा. छोटी सबमरीन रेडियो सबमरीन थी, RF रेडियो से चल रही थी, and I was able to control it and see. And I think on that day, if I show you the pictures, we caught a lot of salmon. Caught a lot of salmon, right? So if I have to show you कितनी हमने salmon पकड़ी. Let me see if I can find the pictures, right? So abhi recently bhi hum pakad ke aaye the, and I think I shared some of them with my office team. So ये सारे काम जो हैं आपको करने होते हैं. You have to do all of these things to figure out कि आप कैसे जो है ना दुनिया में पकड़ते हैं चीज़ें, right? So there's a lot of things that you have to understand. So if you build this thing up, and if you're able to present to me today, then I can show you some of the things कि जिसकी वजह से you can work in the research in all of these areas, right? And the way you build up these things is pretty well. So look at the size of the fish. This is salmon, by the way. Look at the size. You see the size?
Yes, I can see.
ठीक है ना? And we use the Deeper Pro. So these were like three big. This is the male. These are two females, right? You can look at the jaw. अगर jaw elongated हो तो that's the male, right? इसका elongated jaw है, right? So we caught them, mashallah, and we sliced them. Like I think the biggest one जो थी, that was more than 40 pounds. This one was heavy. It's heavy. For 40 pound की मछली थी. The biggest I've caught is 55 pounds, right? The biggest I have caught. And this was through this method, right? Because I was able to locate where they are. So it's a very, it always starts a conversation. जब मैं topics लिख रहा होता हूँ, अक्सर मेरे पास यूसुफ आता है, he says, I need topics. So I go back and I sit down and I have to analyze, did all of those things to bring the topics, right? These are real use cases. China is building autonomous submarines, right? They've already deployed these submarines. There's a lot of devices you can do. You can do, in Australia, they're using these autonomous underwater vehicles to map the floor bed of the coral reef. The great coral reef, the Great Barrier, is in Australia, right? So they are mapping it to see what makes them flourish and what damages them, right? So there's a lot of things that they're doing, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because you can attach computer vision to it as well, right? So this is what you have to think, right? So the project requires students to design and implement a comprehensive underwater autonomous vehicle, AUV, as we call it, network for ocean research and environmental monitoring. Essentially, if you do the same thing, long ago, I went to Kimadi, Kimadi in Pakistan, in Karachi, right?
Yes, I
So the water was at that time was totally green. I'm 45 years old. At that time, I was 15 maybe, right? The water was black and green and was all messed up. I'm assuming it's worse now in Karachi, the seabed, right? Ganda ho gaya na sara sab, it's all messed up, right?
yes.
So you can see, because no one works on it, but like here in Canada, in US and Europe, they are using these kinds of vehicles, and there's a more use cases coming up, right? So the key learning objectives are marine robotics and autonomous navigation, underwater communication network, distributed sensors network, edge computing in marine environment, oceanographic data management, multi-vehicle coordination. By the way, in a Razak, you will find the labs for designing this whole thing. Except the hardware part, you can run this whole thing in a digital twin configuration on a server to see, on the labs to see how this really works out, right? There are multiple marine robotics things like MOSC IVP, ROS2, robotic operating system, underwater, Ardu sub, many other things, right? For the presentation, you will be given minimum 15, maximum up to 20, 25 minutes, followed by a Q&A of 30 to 40 minutes. The whole thing can be wrapped up within 1 hour, plus minus 10, 15 minutes, right? Are you ready, Ahsan, Zafar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm
can
ready.
you share your screen, please? Okay, go back to the first slide. Okay. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You may start now.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahsan Zafar, and today the topic that we will discuss is how to orchestrate autonomous underwater vehicle network with MOOS IVP and how to implement acoustic communication and edge computing for ocean research. So this is the content that we will be covering today, that what is an AUV, what is the difference between AUV and ROV, and what are AUV architecture and its layers. And we will cover deeply in vehicle physical layer, acoustic communication layer, and the data pipeline layer. And then in the last, we will see how to orchestrate multiple vehicle coordination and mission planning. So basically, what is an AUV? AUV stands for Autonomous Underwater Vehicle, which is a robotic submarine that can operate on its own without needing a human intervention constantly for
Can
a.
I stop you for a minute? Just quickly.
Yes,
Did you I don't know, Yusuf, are you here? Muhammad Yusuf, are you here? Udaifa, is Yusuf here?
जी फैसल भाई.
So, Ahsan Zafar, तुमने अपनी बी फार्मेसी की थी?
yes sir, pharmacy है मेरी, B Pharm, Pharm D है, 5 साल की डिग्री.
Okay, आज हमारा स्टूडेंट है. See, everything connects, right? Yusuf, can you see this? Everything connects, right?
Yeah, Faisal bhai, I'm also surprised that Mamoon Bashir got the good news today, and we have another student who is in the same bracket.
So let me give you some good news before you start, right? Before you go further. I just want to show you this just to motivate you. And I know, inshallah, you'll be able to pass this thing because you are a professional. Just want to show you something. Okay? There are no coincidence. ठीक है ना? जिसको जो चीजें होती है ना, वो मैं यहाँ अक्सर बात कर रहा होता हूँ. Some of you guys might think, फैसल भाई अपनी तरफ से लेकर आ रहे हैं. This is nothing that I create. Wallahi, in the name of Allah, I'm saying everything connects for a reason. आज हमें खबर मिली कि हमारा स्टूडेंट है, ठीक है, उसका ये मैसेज आया, मामून बशीर, ठीक है ना, ये बी फार्मेसी इसने किया हुआ, ठीक है ना, सही है. He got the visa. He got the UK visa. Right? So, and these are his messages.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू. फैसल भाई कैसे हैं आप? ठीक हैं? तबीयत से ठीक? फैसल भाई अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मेरा स्टूडेंट वीज़ा अप्रूव हो गया. बड़ा जो है ना क्रिटिकल सा केस था मेरा. मैं सोचता हूँ कि एजुकेशन मैंने अपनी ख़त्म कर दी 2013 में, फिर दोबारा अब उसके बाद गैप सारा, फिर वो खैर वो जॉब एक्सपीरियंस था, फिर डिप्लोमा यानी ऑल ओवर अगेन दोबारा स्टार्ट किया, फिर डिप्लोमा लिया. डिप्लोमा के बाद फिर एज मेरी 38-39 है. तो इस एज में जाके जो स्टूडेंट वीज़ा मिलना, आई वॉज नॉट एक्सपेक्टिंग सीरियसली. ये सिर्फ आपकी तरफ से एक पुश था कि नहीं यार तुम करो, हो जाएगा हो जाएगा. और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अल्लाह का शुक्र है वाकई हो गया. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सुबह अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह नहमदुल्लाह व नशकुरुल्लाह. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका फैसल भाई. वल्लाह अज़ीम बहुत 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 शुक्रिया आपका. इशफाक भाई का बहुत सपोर्ट की, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के मामले में हर तरह से बहुत सपोर्ट किया आप लोगों ने. मेरे पास वर्ड नहीं है कि मैं किस तरीके से शुक्र अदा करूं. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
So, like for your encouragement, you are coming from B Pharmacy. He was from B Pharmacy. He studied 4 tracks with us, DCCS, then he did AI Ops, blockchain, offensive. उसने काम शुरू किया, काम करता रहा, मैं उसको इनकरेज करता रहा. सारे पैसे जो उसने लगाए थे तालीम में हमारे साथ, वो सारे कुछ महीनों में कमा चुका था. सो ही वाज ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग इन द इंडस्ट्री. 38 साल का बंदा, 38-39 साल का बंदा, राइट. 3-4 बच्चे हैं इसके, पंजाब से है, तुम भी पंजाब से हो. I mean, there are parallels, right? May Allah give you success in the same pathway as well. Show me, inshallah. Share your. Now go forward, inshallah, with full steam, and that you can do it, inshallah. Okay.
So Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zafar, and the topic that we will discuss today is how to orchestrate autonomous underwater vehicle network with MOOS IVP and how to integrate acoustic communication and edge computing for ocean research. So this is the content that I will be covering today, like what is an AUV, what is the difference between AUV and ROV, what are AUV architecture and its layers. We will discuss deeply in vehicle physical layer, acoustic communication layer, and data pipeline layer. And then in last, we will see how to do multiple vehicle coordination and mission planning. So what is an AUV? AUV stands for Autonomous Underwater Vehicle. You can imagine it like a robotic submarine that can operate on its own. Like you do not need a constant human support to make it work or a constant remote control signal. Neither you need to attach it with a cable. Okay, so it can travel long distances and it can do the autonomous task. It is autonomous because it can take its own decisions based on the surroundings using the onboard software and sensor inputs. Unlike the remotely operated vehicles which are tethered with a cable, AUVs you can imagine as free swimming robots. So next we will be discussing the difference between autonomous underwater vehicles and remotely operated vehicles. So first of all, the feature is control. So in AUV operates autonomously. You do not need a constant human support and you do not need to make it you don't need to constant follow it. And then there is ROV, which is remotely operated vehicle, and there is a control limitation and you know need a constant human operator to control it. And then there is the connection. Like AUV, they are free swimming, they are not attached with a cable, and their distance coverages is not limited. And ROVs, unlike they are attached with a cable, and there is a limitation to the distance they can travel in one time. And then we talk about mobility. AUV has the free mobility because of its autonomous nature, and ROV does not have free mobility due to its connected nature. And then we have the power source. For AUV, the power source are batteries, and for ROVs, the power source comes through the cable attached. And now we will discuss why do we need an autonomous underwater vehicle? Because the underwater environment is harsh and extreme. We humans, we cannot stay longer in the water like from weeks to months, and we can go up to certain depths in the water. So to handle the pressure underwater, we can use AUVs or machines rather than risking human lives. And underwater is dangerous because we are going deep into the water and we do not know what animals we will face and what conditions we have to face. So we can use the AUVs which can do and save the human life, which can do the task for us and without risking the human life. And in underwater, the main challenge is for the communications because GPS and the radio waves they deplete and they are absorbed by water molecules and we cannot use them for the communication. So the next thing is AUV use cases. First of all, we use autonomous underwater vehicles for ocean research because ocean is quite vast and there is underlying a lot of things. There are animals, there are minerals, there are natural resources. So we need the AUV for the ocean research. And one main point is rescue. Suppose some incident happens like a ship has sunken or some incident has happened, and rather than deploying human power, which can go up to a limited depth and they can get tired after some time, we can utilize AUV swarms. Okay, so in that case, AUVs can go deeper in the water depth and can search longer area and can be efficient and more productive as compared to humans. And then we have defense and security. So AUVs can be deployed in the defense and security system of a country to do water surveillance, to detect intrusion detections, and to find further sources for navigation and research. And then we have environmental monitoring because as humans we need water for survival, so we can constantly monitor the underwater environment using the AUVs. And the most important thing is oil gas industry because underwater environment is quite favorable for water pipelines and other gas pipelines, and there is a lot of resources which we can harvest using the AUVs. We can find the drilling sites, offshore drilling sites. We can find resources like oil and gas in the underwater, and we can utilize them for the human benefits. So now we will discuss the AUV architecture in detail. First of all, we will discuss the vehicle physical layer, then we will cover the acoustic communication layer, and then we will cover the data pipeline layer. So what we have in vehicle physical layer? In vehicle physical layer, we have hull. Hull is the outer body of the AUV that protects it from the harsh environment of the ocean and water. And then we have thrusters. Thrusters are small engines that provide a moving force to the AUV. And then we have sensors. We have different kind of sensors such as CTD sensors. CTD sensors just they collect data about conductivity, temperature, and depth. Then we have ADCP sensors, which are acoustic Doppler current profilers, which determine the water current's velocity. And then we have sonar, sound navigation, and ranging, which is used for object detection. And then hydrophones, which is used for passive acoustic monitoring, which can help us find objects located underwater. Then we have acoustic modems and navigation stack, which help us do the communication in the underwater environment and help us to locate the AUV position. And then all of these processes need some kind of computer. So we can use offboard computer with attached with MOSE IVP and edge computing. So now what is MOSE IVP? MOSE stands for Mission Oriented Operating Suite. Mission Oriented Operating Suite. You can consider it like a middleware that does different modules or process of a vehicle to share information. What process is controls like task navigation, sensor data collection, control signals and inter-process communication. Like the MOSE apps, when they talk with each other, they talk through MOSE. And the sensors that collect data, the data is processed by the MOSE. Okay, and then you can consider it as an operating system. Then the main thing is the IVP. IVP stands for interval programming. It is the main brain of the AUV. It takes decision like what to do when you're exposed to a certain conditions. Like you have an example, an AUV may need to avoid obstacles, follow a survey path and save energy. What to do? Like you are seeing an obstacle, should you keep moving or should you stop or change your course? So these autonomous decisions are taken by the IVP. Then we have the edge computing, which is very important in ocean research. Why? Because in ocean research, the main hindrance is of the data communication, how to send data back to the ship or satellite or back to the shore station. Because in water, we cannot use radio waves and GPS. We use sound waves for communication, which has high latency and low bandwidth. Then we use edge computing because it helps us to process data at the point of collection. Like edge computing means like pre-processing data from at the point of data collection, like you are processing the data and sending back only the usable data. Rather than sending the complete videos or complete pictures, we can send only the information that is useful. And why it matters, I already explained that underwater communication is slow, limited, and unreliable. And real-time decisions we need to take. We cannot wait for humans to give instruction and then we avoid obstacles. So we need to do processing at the point of data collection. So the next important thing is acoustic communication layer. In acoustic communication layers, we encode and transmit data as sound pulses. Like we use sound waves to transfer the data, and they have high latency and low bandwidth. It provides us networking functions like addresses, error correction, and packet scheduling. Like we can use Kalman filters, extended Kalman filters, or particle filters to do the error reduction or error correction. Because sensors, when they go into the water, their input values can be changed due to the surrounding environment, like water pressure, water column pressure, salt concentration in water, water corrosion, and other jolts and vibrations that happen in ocean. So that sensor data we receive, it is like sometimes off the shore, and we can use error correction techniques like Kalman filter, extended Kalman filter, and particle filter. Then it handles the challenges just low speed, multi-part reflections, and Doppler shifts. And the most important thing acoustic communication does is enables localization, like how to find the location of the AUV in the ocean, like where the AUV is currently present. So these are the acoustic models like Hawaii microbottom, like Woodhull Oceanographic Institution micromodel, it is from USA, and Evologis S2C modem, which is from the Germany. And then we have the protocols such as Janus protocols. Why we need protocols in underwater communication? Because when previously Janus protocol is developed by NATO. Previously, when different vendors or proprietors they were creating the AUVs, okay, and when they went into the water, there the main gap was the communication because one AUV is created by one proprietor or country and another AUV function is created by another proprietor or country. So in that case, the communication was the barrier. So the NATO believes on the lingua franca principle, like they have digital handshake, like all the AUVs and the processors will use one protocol. And then we have MOSE IVP, the PACOMS handler. What it is, PACOMS handler is just an app that acts as a bridge between the data collected by sensors and with the acoustic modem. And then we have UNET stack. UNET stacks for underwater networking stacks. It is developed by the National University of Singapore, which allows us to program the acoustic modem as we can program the radio. And then the last is Hawaii ACOMS. And for acoustic positioning systems. So these help us to determine the location of the AUV underwater. So first of all, we have USBL. USBDL stands for ultra short baseline localization. In this type of positioning, receiver is a device that can send or receive signals, but a transponder is a device that can only respond to a sound signal. So we have transceiver at the ship and we have transponder attached to the AUV. When transceiver sends the pulse, sound pulse, the transponder responds and we get to know the position of the AUV. And SBS stands for short baseline localization. In this type, we have multiple transceivers located on the ship, not one, and we have a transponder attached to the AUV. So transceiver sends the signal, transponder responds, and by triangulation method, we can determine the position of the AUV. And then there is long baseline localization. What it is, in this we have transponders on the floor of seabed, and a transceiver is attached to the AUV. Transceiver sends and transponder responds, and the location of the AUV is determined by again the angular method. And the next and the most important thing is data pipeline. Like we are going into the water, we are getting the images, videos, we are detecting CTD, we are collecting data. So we need to send that data back to the station for analysis. So we could understand what is the underlying water environment, are there any favorable things, and what are the resources that are present inside the water. So you can consider the data pipeline as the data plane outside the ocean, and we can transfer the data from the ocean via surface relays like ships, buoys, and UUVs. And then we can store the data, process, and share information among scientists, which can result in helpful insights, and further we can carry ocean research. And then these are the tools that are used for data storage. Like for direct images, videos, and sonar mapping, we can use object storage such as MinIO. Like we can directly put them into the MinIO storage. Like it is, you can imagine like AWS simple storage service. And then there is for time series data where the time is the main thing, like in conductivity. What was the conductivity of water at 1 p.m.? What is the salinity of water at 1 p.m.? What is the depth of water at 1 p.m.? Like all these things, like what was the velocity of water current at 1 p.m. So where the time is important, we can use time series database such as InfluxDB. Okay, and then we share these data on a scientific data service, like we have Kaggle, where data scientists collaborate, upload data sets, do coding, and information is exchanged. So these ocean research scientists, they have their own data server, which is called ADAP. ADAP stands for Environmental Research Divisional Data Approach Program, and together these things makes the data pipeline. And this is the complete workflow which is done in underwater environment, like hull thrusters and sensors. IVP takes the decision. Then we have, if we are going to do ocean research for some object finding, some object detection, then we will use NVIDIA Jetson onboard computer. And if the task is not much machine learning intensive, then we can use Raspberry Pi. And then edge analytics is done at the time, and the remaining data is sent to the acoustic modems. So acoustic modems does two things, like one is the data transfer and one is the localization support. So acoustic modem sends data to surface relays, buoys, ships, and USVs. Okay, so surface relays are what? Like relays to collect the buoys are what? Like buoys are stationary systems located on the floor of sea, which are used for navigation, connection, and localization of send the data to data station. And it helps in localization system, which I explained earlier, USBL, LBL, and SBL. Then we have data position sent to shore cloud or the satellite. Like when the AUV surfaces, it can send data to Iridium satellite, and then Iridium satellite can transfer the data back to the data station. And then the data reaches the data station, and the images, videos, they go into S3 buckets or MinIO, and the time series data goes to InfluxDB. And then the data flows to ADAP servers, researchers analyze, and they make next mission. So this is a picture that I have taken from MIT website. Like in this, we have modes file, like all the mission configurations, behavior set, like if you see an obstacle, what to do, if the water current velocity exceeds the limit, what to do, if you find some higher temperature, what to do. So all of these behaviors, they are defined in the behavior set. And then IVP analyze when it gets data from the sensors, it analyzes this behavior set and then take the decision. And the last thing is multiple vehicle coordination and mission planning. So when multiple vehicles coordinate, we call it cooperative and autonomy. And first of all, in multiple vehicles, when there are multiple vehicles, how the task is distributed to each vehicle. So we can use different algorithms. So one is market-based auction algorithm. In market-based, what happens? There is a task, AUV bids, and the AUV with higher bid gets the task. Suppose there is a task that we need to cover 2 kilometer area of the ocean. So AUV1 bids that it has 30% battery. AUV2 bids it has 50% battery. AUV3 bids it has 70% battery. So the task will be assigned to the AUV3, which has the highest battery, 70%. So this is how the task is assigned. And then there is consensus based algorithms, like different AUVs do a consensus and then task is assigned to a AUV. And then we have distributed constraint optimization. In distributed constraint optimization, there are two things. One is the optimization and one is the constraint behavior. Like all the UVs work together to optimize one objective. Like objective can be anything. You have to complete the mission, you have to map the complete area, or you need to find something. Okay. So, but they stay in constraint. There are some constraints like they cannot exceed a certain limit of communication, they cannot go up after a depth limit. Okay, so there are some constraints. Then we decide how what will be the formation of algorithms for coordinated surveys. So one is the leader follower method. One AUV leads and rest of one them follow it. And then there is behavior based. In behavior based, what happens? It is inspired from the flocking of birds. Like each AUV maintains its distance from the other AUVs, and then they move and then they do the mission. And then there is consensus based formation control. In consensus based formation control, AUVs move together until the formation consensus is done, until they decide what formation to form. And in virtual structure approach, each AUV acts as a rigid structure and they follow the pre-planned structure. And then there is adaptive mesh networking for vehicle communication, like how different multiple vehicles will communicate with each other. So one is ad hoc acoustic networks. In ad hoc acoustic networks, there is no predefined networking structure. Each AUV acts as a node. If it establishes connection with a neighboring AUV, it can enter the network. And they develop the network as they move forward in the mission. In adaptive routing protocols, AUVs checks their communication link strength by sending the messages to the neighboring AUVs. And they only send data when the communication has established. And we can use vector based forwarding and depth based routing. And then is store and forward communication. The main important thing is DTN, detailed tolerant networking in the AUV's network. Like even if the AUV is not able to connect with another AUV or the ship, it will store the data. It will keep it carrying until it develops the again connection and it will send it back. And then in the last is multi-hop mesh networks. In multi-hop mesh networks, what happens? Like if an AUV needs to send data back to the data station and it is not able to develop the connection, what it will do, it will send the data to the neighboring AUV. And the neighboring AUV will see if it can establish the connection with the data center. If it is not able to, then it will transfer data to the next AUV. And then that AUV will see if it is able to connect to the data station. And if it is able to connect, then it will send data back to the data station. So the data hops from multiple networks in this form and data reaches the data station. Thank you, that was all.
Okay, Bismillah. So let's jump into the Q&A. Really would like to know. Bismillah. Okay. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today is a good day, alhamdulillah. Like a person from, you're from Punjab as well, right?
Yes, sir.
That guy is also from Punjab. And how old are you? I didn't check your KYC information.
I will be 26 in January.
You're young, mashallah, 26 years old, right? Are you the friend of another pharmacy person?
Yes, sir. Ahsan.
Who scored very good, right? Ahsan.
Yes.
94%. Okay. So you are three friends.
Yes, sir.
He did the topic for robotics, right?
Yes, agriculture based robot.
The drones.
Right? Yes.
So this is a project I'm doing with my son, you know, the SLAM. You know, the SLAM, you didn't mention you mentioned very little about the SLAM. That's where you get the, like, minimum marks,
Yes,
got some deduction over there. Underwater
yes.
slam, right? Acoustic plus inertial fusion, right?
Yes, sir. Inertial fusions and acoustic, like
Yes,
simultaneous localization and mapping.
yes. I mean, if all of your friends, if you guys start a company, mashallah, right? You can do a lot, right? UAE is starting a new program where international students can come there, can get a 10 years work permit, can work in the industry, open their own businesses and stuff like that, right? So you can go there, get your own business up with these ideas and everything, or you can just go outside, study, and then inshallah. So the world is your stage. You're 26 years old. That person, Mamoon Bashir, has a very amazing story. He did his B pharmacy, couldn't find a job, right? Just like all the students in Pakistan and all over the world, you know what they do? Like in Pakistan, this happens in Pakistan, not in other parts of the world. Someone will say, go and do graphic designing. They will do graphic designing or SEO, and they will start working in SEO and all these weird things, and drop shipping. They will start going in drop shipping. These are not careers,
Yes,
right? You have to establish yourself to start your own business or your career, right? So he came to
yes,
me. I said to him, like, go and study this. Inshallah, you will be successful. Very smart guy. He went in there, he studied. And engineers and doctors and all those people who go to the university, if they do not learn the skills, they do learn the discipline, right? This is one thing that they do learn. Like if they pay attention, the teachers may not be able to deliver them all the skills they need to be successful, but at least the teachers give them discipline, enough discipline to be consistent, right? And if the teacher hasn't done that, then they obviously have failed in that area as well, right? So he went in there, he started studying. He completed his pathway in 1 year, and he said, I have this much money, इतने पैसे मेरे पास और मुझे जल्दी जल्दी सब कुछ करना है, and I have to do all of these things quickly. I said, go and do it, inshallah. Allah will help you. Don't worry. So he started studying. He secured his first job. पहली job इसकी हुई, right? I think it was like 1.5 lakh रुपए something. Whatever he invested, he was able to get the ROI, the return on investment, very high, right? So whatever he invested, he got the money back immediately within few months. And even though he was studying 3 tracks, he studied blockchain, DevOps, offensive, AI ops. He went, he was one of the people. And I called him and I said, like, someone told me, like, there's a student, and there are a number of students who are buying multiple tracks, right? So they told me, like, he's buying everything. I said, no, stop him, right? Tell him whatever he has bought, go and study that first. What's the point of just keep on buying when you can't even finish? So I told him, go and finish that. So he was, mashallah, he proved me wrong. He finished all of those things. He did all very hard work. And today he got his visa. He's going to UK. So I told him, go and complete Ar-Razak labs. They're very important for you. You, for your friend who gave the exam, your 3 friends, right? The other one might be coming in. When is his
yes, sir.
exam due?
Yes.
When is his exam?
Yes. Sir, his topic has been assigned according to his topic is like DNA computing. So,
Oh, so all of
and
you guys are getting some best topics, right?
so mine
Mashallah.
was the extremely off topic. They at least both have some pharmacy, like touch of medicine and like agriculture and DNA stuff. Mine is completely different, like ocean research. So he
Oh,
will submit his presentation and then the date will be decided.
you can use this solution for anything, even if you want to go into the nanotechnology part, you can do that, right? Inshallah, we are working. We will announce soon opening 3 new centers in Canada, in Toronto, in Markham, and in Scarborough. Sorry, not in Markham, Scarborough, Mississauga, and Toronto downtown. There are certain things that needs to be done and finalized. There's a place opening in Saudi Arabia as well. Lots of things are happening. But like you can use this topic once you understand the idea, the same things that your friend did on drones, it's the same operating system. ROS, he's using ROS, you're using ROS, right? He's using SLAM, you're using SLAM, right? SLAM is like for connecting the dots and building up a picture, right? Right?
Yes.
So you can gather all of those things. So inshallah, don't worry about this. Is not off topic. What you're getting, if you develop and work on it, you can do more, inshallah. Okay.
Yes.
Ocean is the next frontier. As the polar ice is melting, everyone is concerned, and they want to figure out what they have to do. The US military do war games exercises, right? Unfortunately, none of the Muslim countries are doing war games. So I was having this discussion with my son in the morning, and he was listening to a podcast with me on war games, right? And he said, मुसलमान क्यों नहीं war games करते? So मैंने बोला बेटा मुसलमान क्रिकेट खेलने में मसरूफ़ है, ड्रामे देखने में मसरूफ़ है, ये सब चीज़ें मसरूफ़ हैं, और यहाँ पर पेंटागन में सब जगह वो वॉर गेम्स कर रहे हैं, सिमुलेशंस कर रहे हैं कि अगर ऐसा होगा तो क्या होगा, ऐसा होगा तो क्या होगा। मैंने कहा मुसलमान जो है ना, मैंने कहा बेटा मुसलमान सो गया है, मुसलमान ने दीन छोड़ दिया अपना। सो व्हेन यू लीव द दीन aside, then you lose focus, right? That's the problem. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So let's start. So explain why, you mentioned unified protocols. You mentioned like unified protocols are very important, this and that. So why unified protocols? Why not like, Germany has a different protocol, France has a different protocol. Why do we need a unified protocol? Why? Why is that?
Because when one country makes one thing, it should be usable by other people as well. If the communication protocols are not constant, if one vendor is making a communication protocol with some other method and the other is making following some other standard, when they integrate, then they will not work. Like military cannot use the products made by the civilians, and civilians cannot use the product made by the military. So that the products cannot scale.
There was a very good discussion we were having on Friday. Friday को मेरे घर में खाना होता है, so everyone comes to my house, right? तो मेरे दो brother-in-laws हैं, दोनों डॉक्टर्स हैं। दोनों ने मेरी बात सुनी, डॉक्टर्स करने के बाद उन्होंने मेरी बात सुनी। आई केम फ्रॉम यूएस, मैं यूएस से आया। उसने कहा फैसल भाई हमने जो ना, मेरी वाइफ ने बोला ये मेरा जो ना, इन दोनों को आप मशवरा दें, ये सुनते नहीं किसी की बात। तो मैंने उन दोनों को बिठाया, मैंने कहा लिसन टू मी, ठीक है? दोनों मेरी बड़ी इज्जत करते हैं। मैंने कहा देखो दिस इज द ट्रैक, मैं तुम्हें ट्रैक बताता हूँ, तुम्हें क्या ट्रैक करना है। सो गो एंड डू योर प्लैब एग्जाम, गो टू यूके, कंप्लीट योर प्लैब एग्जाम्स, सिक्योर अ जॉब, JHO बनोगे, SHO बनोगे, लग जाओगे, एंड यू विल गेट थ्रू, ठीक है ना? देन कम टू कैनेडा। They went to UK, they followed my pathway, and UK का passport 6 years में मिल गया उनको। Now they're in Canada working, running their own medical practice, right? So ये मेरे पास आके बैठते हैं, ठीक है? बहुत इज्जत करते हैं, छोटे हैं मुझसे, ठीक है? सुनते हैं, मेरी बात सुनते हैं, right? It's very hard to find people who can listen to you, right? मेरी बात सुनते हैं। So they were talking about millennial generation, boomer generation, Generation
Gen
X.
Z.
I'm Gen Z. I'm Gen X, right? I was born in 1980, right? So Gen X, everyone is different, right? And they were saying कि boomers और millennials जो है ना, इन्होंने बड़ा नुकसान पहुंचा है, right? You know why? Islamically हमारे पास ये ना, तुमने कहा भाई unified protocols, हमारा इस्लाम का unified protocol क्या है? What is the unified protocol in Islam? क्या है?
Quran and Sunnah.
There you go. ठीक है? मैंने किसी से पूछा तुमने सुबह की दुआएं तुम क्या पढ़ते हो? उसने कहा मंजिल। मैंने कहा व्हाट इज दिस, ये क्या चीज़ है? आई नेवर हर्ड ऑफ इट, राइट? सही है। तो ये हमारा हाल है। वी आर नॉट फॉलोइंग द यूनिफाइड प्रोटोकॉल डायरेक्टली द कुरान एंड सुन्नाह। वी आर फॉलोइंग, कोई मंजिल फॉलो कर रहा है, कोई हिसान मुस्लिम जो यूनिफाइड प्रोटोकॉल है वो पढ़ रहा है, कोई क्या कर रहा है। सो दिस हैज क्रिएटेड a system where everyone is in disarray, right? That's why they can't communicate with
Yes,
each other.
we are divided. We are preaching Islam based on firqas.
So,
Like I am Sunni, Wahhabi,
our
and
desires and our allegiances dictates what we need to follow. That's the problem. Amma wa hawa, Allah says in the Quran, they will follow their desires. And they are like a dog who is, who's like, dog करता है ना कुत्ता, हाँपता है ना,
yes, sir.
अल्लाह ताला ने कहा इनकी हालत है, yeah, this is what they're doing, right? Unfortunately, once we combine, then we will succeed. It's going to take a long time. अभी और बहुत सारी चीजें होंगी. Unfortunately, हमारे scholars भी पढ़े लिखे नहीं हैं. Unfortunately, हमारे लोग भी पढ़े लिखे नहीं हैं. और जब ना उनको दीन की समझ है ना दुनिया की समझ है, दोनों की समझ नहीं है. That's the problem, right? Good job. What is the purpose of MOS in the MOS, IVP architecture?
So MOS is specifically designed from marine autonomy. The other softwares that we have, ROS, robotic operating system, they are not specific for marine autonomy. They are for general robotics. So the MOS, what it does, it acts as a middleware software bus that handles the communication. Like we are getting data from the sensors, it has to turn to navigation stack, acoustic modems, and these things. And IVB is the brain that takes the decision. It sees that we are seeing an obstacle, what to do, whether to move behind or change the course. If the water current velocity is increasing, how to take the AUV further? Should we abandon the mission or should we forward? So all of these decisions, they are taken by IVP. So moves is the middleware bus, while IVP takes the decision.
Okay.
Autonomy behavior is done by our IVP.
Good job. Okay. How does an AUV, autonomous underwater vehicle, determine its approximate position underwater without GPS?
Okay, so we can use SLAM, simultaneous localization and mapping, where it has us to find the local location of AUV and also simultaneously map the seafloor. We have systems such as USBL, ultra short baseline localization system, which has transceiver and they send signal transponder response and we get an idea where the AU is. We have then SBL, short baseline localization, where we have multiple transceivers. They send the signal to and transponder response and we do triangulation because multiple receivers are receiving a signal and they triangulate and we get more accurate position. And there is LBL, long baseline localization, in which there is a CV spread transponders on seafloor. AUV responds, transponder receives, and then we can get the data and we can idealize where the location of the AUV is present.
Okay, good, mashallah, good. You could also answer like this, like the acoustic positioning, the USBL, the SBL, the LBL, the dead reckoning, the inertial navigation units,
IMU, inertial measurement unit.
the Doppler velocity logs, and the ranging triangulation can give us, the AUV can give the AUV the approximate position underwater, right? So these are fascinating things. Unfortunately, the next wars are being fought in the air and on the ocean, right? And this is where we need the next generation weapon systems, right? Saudi Arabia will be investing billions and billions of dollars in developing their local, defense industry. So if you go there, even though you have a different degree, in B pharmacy, which has no relation with what you have done, but you're going into the other part, you can go in that area if you want to go into the defense sector, but do a master's program, right? To replace, because this guy, he did his B pharmacy and he's going his MSc in computing or AI and computing, like in Ravensbrück, in Ulster University, he's going, right? Just like Mahmoud Bashir. He said to me, the university was not giving him admission. So what he did was he applied on just in B pharmacy to go in MSc in AI. The university said, no, you don't qualify. So, but then he put his admission, he said, I have done my AI ops. And then he went and applied and then he gave him the admission, right? So this whole AI ops layer on top of you and your friends has transformed you that you can now go into other areas, right? So it's up to you whether you go to the defense sector or civilian sector. It's up to you. तुम decide करो कि तुम्हें कहाँ जाना है. Where do you want to go, right? Inshallah. Okay, so what type of data is best suited for time series? You mentioned the time series. You showed the database. I mean the diagrams. Time series database like InfluxDB and AUV operations.
Sir, from the can you repeat the question?
So
what type of data?
What type of data is best suited for time series databases like InfluxDB and
Okay.
AU
So
operate?
when a EUV is operating, it has images, videos, sonar mappings, and has sensor measurements. The sensor measurements we can use, we can put them in the InfluxDB because we need to analyze at what time, what was the water current, what was the temperature, what was the depth. For images and videos, we do not need the time. We just need to know if there is something special in that, any special object, and any other thing.
Okay, good job.
So for sensor related data, CTD, ADCP, and hydrophones we can use.
Yeah, I mean, like the continuous sensor streams like depth, salinity, temperature, ADCP, current
Yes.
velocity,
Yes,
navigation
sir.
logs,
Salinity,
all
turbidity.
these, yeah,
Yes, sir.
all of these things,
All
right?
these sensor related.
You
Yes,
just have to
sensor
play
related.
around. You just have to play around with the logs to figure out. So if I have to do an edge analysis, and this is something your friend did you watch your friend interview when
Yes,
he
sir.
was
I
going?
did. Yes, sir, I did.
He
I
said
did.
something very amazing, which I really liked, and I learned from him, mashallah. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing because no person knows everything, right? We are developing solutions ourselves. We don't know answers to all the questions, right? So this AUV is collecting lots of data and everything, right? Where should the AI layer be to analyze this data? Back in the cloud, on the edge, where does it should be, and why?
The edge computing and the edge AI should be like we are going to search. Suppose we are going to for a pipe leakage, searching pipe leakage. So in that we are collecting an your video, and we need an AI to process the data at the point of collection, and then we can do the solution. So
Good.
edge analysis here.
Mashallah, good. Your friend said, bring AI to the data, don't bring data to the AI, right? That's what he mentioned. And it was amazing. I wrote it down in the notes and I was really fascinated. I said, great, yeah, Zabardast. Okay. All right, the
Yes,
power
sir.
plays. Go ahead, you're saying something?
Our all three friends journey is quite fascinating. We started learning from Python. Then I took consultancy from you in one of the sessions.
Oh,
I
you did? I
talked.
can't remember.
Yes, sir, I did. You said go in AI ops, so we all decided to go in AI ops. And then we are all planning to do masters, so we could get good jobs and
May
get.
Allah give you more success, inshallah. You will be very, very successful, inshallah. May Allah give you more success. Plan ahead and go into countries which provides you, you know, work permit, right? After studies. That's UK, it's Canada. In USA, it's there, but they have created this whole issue of H-1B fee,
Yes, sir.
which has become unsustainable. It has been challenged in the courts. I don't know what's going to happen, but until that is sorted out, we will, it's anyone's guess. But let's see what happens. Let's go back to our topic. But like this, has created opportunities for other countries, like in Germany, in Europe, like in Scandinavian countries, they are attracting more talent, right? It's
Yes, sir.
America's law. Okay, so let's jump into some of the more tougher questions. So imagine, how would you, okay, so how would you derive an AUV, how could AUV compensate for IMU drift using the ADCP and the LBL hybrid fusion and logarithm? How would it do? Like,
So
what
it
would
can
be the
use
difference?
extended Kalman filters. Like Kalman filters is a mathematical algorithm that allows to estimate the true state of the system by combining the noisy sensor measurements with the model prediction. So we can use filters like particle filter, which works in non-linear and non-Gaussian situations. Extended Kalman filter works in non-linear and Gaussian noisy situations, and Kalman filter works in linear models and Gaussian model situations. Based on the situations, we can utilize any of these three.
Okay, good, mashallah. How would you integrate AUV in a mission telemetry, AUV mission telemetry into the cloud native observability pipeline on AWS or even your own running on Kafka, whatever, right? How would you do this thing?
So I will first design a complete data pipeline, like how the data will be collected, how it will move through acoustic communication layer, then to ship, and then back to the data. And then we can have solutions, open source solutions like Grafana and Prometheus, and we can also use space solutions through the AWS, like Google Cloud and Amazon Web Services. And we can use, there is something I can call Elastic Kubernetes service for orchestration, where we can define the whole thing, and then we can move forward with it. And we also have something I am forgetting its name. It is AWS services for monitoring to like log and something. I cannot remember it, but there is proper solutions for them, open source and both paid sources.
There's the AWS solution is Kinesis data
Yes,
stream, right?
yes.
Yeah, that's okay. Explain how would you automate AUV software delivery using GitOps principles?
Okay. GitOps principle automate. So what we can do, we can develop a CI/CD pipeline, and we can also utilize Docker and Kubernetes in it, where we can make pipelines where we change something and it will trigger through webhooks, GitHub webhooks, and it will go towards the containerization and deployment thing.
Okay. How would you, validate ML models deployed on underwater robots given limited bandwidth?
So first of all, what we can do when we are collecting the data, we can apply some range limits. Like we have statistical methods like IQR methods. We can apply rate limits. We can use ML models to determine if the data is being collected is quality. Like we are moving toward part, and again the data which is sent by the sensor is very outlier. Like it does not fall at least in the normal distribution, because we have the domain knowledge like turbidity in this area. We have some normal distribution to determine if the sensor data falls within the limit or not, and then we can decide, and we put validation checks such as range limits, statistical methods. We can use machine learning models such as isolation forest.
No. My question was like, how would you validate ML models, right? Deployed on underwater robots given limited bandwidth. So the answer, you did give a little bit of answer. The answer is like on edge inference validation, offline batch aggregation, anomaly logs, compressed and uploaded during surface windows. That's how we can, evaluate and validate which ML model is good for us, right? That's what I
We
was
can
looking.
do multiple experiments and validations.
But yes,
Right.
yes. I mean, some of the things you mentioned, like we can do that as well. Okay. Last question, right? So how would you architect a mission critical failover plan where an AUV loses both IMU and ADCP input simultaneously? What would you do? Like, so for example, should not say that, but like it can happen anytime. India and Pakistan are fighting, right? And Pakistanis, they send their drones, underwater drones.
Yeah.
These are cheaper, economical. The frigates, the big ships, the carriers, they're very expensive. So you send these drones. Some of these drones are kamikaze drones. They just go in and blow up, right? Some of these drones are for reconnaissance purposes. So in this case, this is a recon mission. They just want to make sure like they use the LiDAR to paint a picture what is happening, right? Because things can go wrong. Pakistan doesn't have a satellite of its own. It uses Chinese satellites. The Indians were blocking the satellite connection, right? They need some kind of telemetry on the sea so that we can see what's happening, right? Pakistan can see what's happening. So how would you architect a mission critical failover plan where these AUVs loses both IMU and ADP input simultaneously? How do you make sure like, we get the data back?
I can use the multiple hop mesh network. If one AUV is going to lose the connection, it can transfer data to another AUV. And if that AUV also loses connection, they transfer to data another AUV. And eventually, the AUV that is gets successful in establishing the connection with the data station, it sends the data. So we can utilize the multiple अपने mesh networking.
MashaAllah. Good job. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Okay. So it's essentially you nail the solution, switch to purely acoustic base positioning, USBL, LBL, reduce mission complexity to low risk behaviors, pushing the data to other AUVs which are connected still back to the grid, increase surfacing frequency for GPS fixes, enter into energy conservation mode. You know, my kids, they all have these Apple watches, right? So मैंने अपने बच्चों को फ़ोन नहीं दिया, मैंने अपने बच्चों को Apple Watch दी, and they can only call me if they are there. It has a low power mode. So these are IoT devices, right? Companies are using these to connect on the AUVs for satellite grid purposes, right? So लोगों ने Apple Watch को Apple tags को use करते हुए अपनी solutions design की हैं. You can do that. These things are
Yes, sir.
available, right? So it's amazing that what people are doing. And ये जो अभी हम campus खोल रहे हैं यहाँ पर, I want to sit down with them and talk ideas and say, what can you do? Go and do it. We are giving you the labs, we are giving you the material, we are giving you the ideas, we are training you. I want you to go there and build up these solutions. This is how हम उम्मत को वापस ला सकते हैं.
Yes, sir. The AEOps is a good thing. Like before, like this diploma, I only knew Python, Tableau, and SQL. Like these three technologies. I just needed to know. I just know how to draw visualizations and make models. But after doing the AIOps, I am quite familiar with Linux operating system, Bash scripting, how to use cloud where our computation powers are limited, and how to use Kubernetes and Docker to containerize the machine learning models and deploy through Kubernetes, and also utilize Flask API to deploy the models or use some other thing, and also Selenium for automation. So this was quite a good thing because now I understand the complete workflow of things from the security perspective as well. I'm also studying that, but the complete flow which I was lacking after doing AOps, I can see it. And it has added a lot of skills to my skill set. Like main skills are AWS, Kubernetes. I'm quite happy that I did this diploma and got exposed to this technical world. And now, inshallah, I will pursue my master's and I will move to greater heights with this like institution.
Inshallah, inshallah. May Allah give you more success. Inshallah. May Allah give you more
Inshallah.
success. Inshallah. Yeah, so there's a lot of things, you know, that you have to do. This is just the beginning, you know. I mean, you can do a lot. Let me show you something. Right? This is what you need to learn and understand all the core things. You know, a Razak program is very important for you. A Razak program is very advanced, right? Just in the AI ops, there are 23 domains. In the if you add the specialization, you will get more and more domains, right? So let me show you something, you know, that what you have to do to understand where you have to go, right? We are adding these new things on our portal, right? So Alhamdulillah, like new security features are being added, etc., etc. The team is working really, really hard, right? So if you come down, Razak Intelligence, right? These are the labs.
Yes, sir.
The labs are the ones where we focus on all the core things that you have to do, right? If you do these, you will be unstoppable, inshallah, right? So Linux labs are there. If you learn this stack, the Linux open source, everything, you're ready to build up any solution you like, right? So then if I have to show you all the core things that you have to do in order to learn the Ar-Razak properly. So let me show you something. Hold on. That's why we are asking everyone to go in and do the labs. The labs are very, very important, right? Agar tumne labs ki, if you complete all the labs, then you will be able to do many, many things, inshallah. So for example, ये सारी labs and these are the labs, right? Linux, DevOps, containerization, Kubernetes, cybersecurity offensive lab, DevSecOps. These are the ones we have released. There are these ones which are coming up, GRC, data privacy, ये सब आ रही हैं अभी. When you complete all of them, you have the skills you need to develop any solution which requires data analysis, automation, robotic process automation, GRC, cybersecurity, compliance. ये सारे skills तुम्हें चाहिए. ठीक है ना? People look at those things wrong. You know what they do is कि वो कहते हैं कि let's say कि भाई just go and do data analysis, Tableau, skills, ये वो सब सीख लो and you're done, right? And you can go and apply for jobs. You will never find any jobs.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, तुम्हें ऐसे PhDs नजर आएंगे. There are PhD in artificial intelligence. But if you talk to them about all the things, they are completely clueless. So there are two kinds of PhDs. One PhDs, जिसे कहते हैं फिरा हुआ दिमाग, ठीक है ना? वो PhD फारे हैं. And they are running their YouTube channels and they are in all these different businesses and it's total crap, right?
Yes, sir.
Then there are PhDs who are on the forefront of technologies and they're building companies. You don't see them online because they are working on the building up companies. Right? These are the PhDs, but they are not accessible. But if you find the people who are working in the industry and they know what is being developed and what is being required, so if you complete a Razak program, that will make you that person. You can communicate with this PhD and say, yeah, solution banani, I can develop the solution. I can containerize it, put it on the edge, analyze the data, pull it apart. I can do all of those things. That is what is required in the industry, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so mashallah, very good job in terms of going for the exam. You secured 22 in your presentation, which is 88%. And mashallah, you secured 21.5 in your Q&A, right? Which is 3, 4, 5, yes. And that is basically 86% in your Q&A. Altogether, mashallah, you secured 87%. So very good marks, mashallah. Okay. So mashallah, you have passed your exam with top good numbers, very, almost distinction. Distinction is there. It's 80, above 85 is distinction. So mashallah, right? So very proud of you, Ahsan, Zafar. So this is my recommendation. Ye meri recommendation. As I told you today, right? As I told you today, just give me 1 minute. So as I was saying, today is the day हमारा student का visa लग गया, right? सही है. तो this is amazing. If you तो मगर if I go back and if I have to tell someone कि यार उसने क्या किया था, कैसे किया था, it's amazing कि what he has done so far, right? So you can do the same thing. If you want to get the admission right now, arrange all of those things, all of those things can be done, right? तुम्हारा admission हो सकता है,
Sir,
सब कुछ
what
हो
should
सकता है.
we select? Now I want to take a suggestion. Doing a Razak labs next 6 months and then go abroad for masters or start masters and keep doing both side by side. But what I see is,
No.
should I take
So
6 months and do a Razak?
this is what you should do, okay? You and your friends, all of them. जो भी बैठे हुए हैं सुन लें यहाँ पर. You first need to complete a Razak program. Studying in your own home country is easier. You know why? कपड़े धुले हुए मिलते हैं, कपड़े इस्त्री मिलते हैं, नाई मिल जाता है, तुम्हारी दाढ़ी सेट कर लेता है, बाल सेट हो जाते हैं, ठीक है ना? घर में चश्मा गंदा होगा तो मैं अपने बच्चों का बेटी का चश्मा लेके साफ कर रहा हूँ, इधर लाओ. वो कहती है आप क्यों साफ करते हैं? मैंने कहा मैं जिंदा हूँ, साफ कर लूंगा. नहीं होगा फिर तुम बोलोगी चश्मा गंदा है यार मेरा, ठीक है ना? तो हर चीज़ तुम्हें मिलेगी. यू विल फाइंड एवरीथिंग, राइट? कि मुझे हर चीज़ साफ सुथरी अच्छी लगती है. एवरीथिंग इज क्लीन. सी द होल हाउस, एवरीथिंग, आई लाइक एवरीथिंग क्लीन. एवरीथिंग इज देयर बिकॉज दिस इज योर ओन हाउस. माँ बाप जिंदा है ना, पेरेंट्स देयर, सपोर्ट करने के लिए रेडी हैं. माँ बाप दुआ कर रही है, बाप दुआ कर रहा है, सब दुआ कर रहे हैं. दिस इज व्हाट यू नीड. द इकोसिस्टम इज देयर. बी हियर. 6 months में सारा और रजा खत्म करो. क्यूबी एस्ट्रोनॉट एंड गोल्डन क्यूबी एस्ट्रोनॉट खत्म करके जाओ. दिसंबर आ रहा है. This December is coming. You will find good packages where you can buy all the exams in a cheaper package. QB Astronaut and Golden QB Astronaut is just a conversation starter. It won't enable you to do any work. वो जो सैयद अबाबुर रहमान है दुनिया का सबसे यंगेस्ट क्यूबी एस्ट्रोनॉट थ्रू अस, ठीक है, ही इज गोइंग टू यूके, 16 साल का, इज गोइंग टू यूके टू डू हिज मास्टर्स. व्हेन ही गोज देयर एंड ही अप्लाइज फॉर द इंटरव्यू, ठीक है ना, तो ही विल बी एबल टू टॉक एंड डू ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स बिकॉज वो देखेंगे क्यूबी एस्ट्रोनॉट, ओ उसको बुलाओ यार, आस्क हिम कम. बिकॉज इफ ही कैन हार्नेस Kubernetes and the containers, you can work on any technology.
Yes, sir.
That's, remember, you can build up solutions and systems. So knowing Ar-Razzaq is very important for you. You know, knowing this is very important for you. By the way, ye AI Ops ka Ar-Razzaq hai. You know, Ar-Razzaq for other programs is way different. You know, way different. If I have to show you Ar-Razzaq program, दूसरे उसके, they are way different. वो बहुत बड़े हैं भाई. It's a completely different world out there. मैं तुमको बताता हूँ, थोड़ा सा दिखाता हूँ, because everything is there on. अब हम सब इसको रिलीज कर रहे हैं. This is दुनिया की जो टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं वो 36 टेक्नोलॉजीज में डिवाइडेड है, 36 डिसिप्लिन्स. AI ML में तुमने किया है ना, so you're getting this, ठीक है ना. We will be adding more domains in there as well. तुम बोलोगे यार ये 23 डोमेन से 25, 26, 50 डोमेन्स हो गए, क्या हो रहा है, क्या चीज़. बट वी आर गिविंग यू ऑल दीज प्रोजेक्ट्स, क्लाउड बिग डेटा. These are all specializations that you can do with AI Ops. This is what beats the global economy. ठीक है ना. तो उसमें डिजिटल इंटेलिजेंस पावर है, डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी पावर के अंदर ये सारी चीज़ें आती हैं, इंडस्ट्रियल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के अंदर ये चीज़ आती है, एनर्जी एनवायरमेंटल के अंदर ये चीज़ें आती हैं, बायो पावर में ये आती है, फाइनेंशियल. सबसे बड़ा Ar-Razzaq प्रोग्राम ना इसका है, फाइनेंशियल टेक्नोलॉजीज़ का है, क्योंकि उसमें सॉवरेन रेल्स और सब चीज़ें हैं, मोर देन 50+ डोमेन्स हैं, ठीक है ना. सो दीज आर द क्रॉस डिसिप्लिन्स जो तुम्हें करने हैं, ठीक है ना. बट अभी तुम यहाँ पर हो, Ar-Razzaq इसका कर रहे हो, जस्ट गो एंड फिनिश इट ऑफ, कंप्लीट योर Kubernetes एंड गोल्डन Kubernetes एग्जाम ले लो. तुमने कहा आई हैव दीज, देन गो फॉर योर मास्टर्स इन September नेक्स्ट ईयर. टाइम है ना, अभी टाइम है. यूज दिस टाइम बिकॉज यहाँ तुम्हारे लिए पढ़ना आसान. इट्स easier for you to study here rather than studying outside. Because once you leave the comfort of your home, once you leave, तुम अपना नेस्ट छोड़ोगे, घोंसले से बाहर आओगे, तुम्हें कौवा भी आके चोंच मारेगा, तुम्हें सब आके मारेंगे, तुम बोलोगे यार क्या मजाक है, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, क्या हो रहा है. तुम्हें कपड़े भी खुद धोने पड़ेंगे, तुम्हें सब काम खुद करने पड़ेंगे, तो बोलोगे दाढ़ी भी फैल जाएगी, सब कुछ आगे पीछे, बाल सफ़ेद हो जाएंगे, बोलोगे यार व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, ये क्या हो रहा है. ठीक है ना, सही है. बट इफ यू हैव दी स्किल्स you will be able to secure the job faster, because going there and learning and doing masters will make things difficult. Once you complete all of these things, फिर तुम जाओ मास्टर्स करने, थोड़ा सा ही टाइम, ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं, थोड़ा सा टाइम, ठीक है ना. पढ़ो, बैठ के अप्लाई करो, रिमोट जॉब्स पकड़ लो, सब कुछ, एवरीथिंग यू कैन डू ऑल ऑफ दिस थिंग. फिर जब जाओगे मास्टर्स करने, मास्टर्स विल बिकम लाइक अ वॉक इन अ पार्क फॉर यू. बोलेंगे मास्टर्स कुछ भी नहीं है, मास्टर्स इज नथिंग यार, ऐसे ही चलते फिरते निकाल लोगे. What will make you ready is a Ar-Razzaq program. When you go there for the interview, TOGAF, architecture, system documentation, system analysis, GRC, cybersecurity, all of these new technologies, you can develop solutions. Business requirements sign, you can translate them, work on the solution. They will be like, who is this guy? His name is Ahsan Zafar. Where is he from? He's from Pakistan. I thought only terrorists were there from Pakistan. What is happening? Why do we have such a great guy coming from Pakistan? Well, sir, this is just a media perception. It's all Fox News. But people from Pakistan are pretty good. They're good engineers. And they have better accent than Indians. No offense to any Indians sitting here, right? So no offense. But this is what we have, right? So that's what you have to work on. तैयारी करके जाओ. अभी हाथी निकल गया, सिर्फ दुम फंसी हुई तुम्हारी, ठीक है ना. जब वो हो जाए, मास्टर्स में घुस जाओ, देन चूज यार, आई नीड टू गो टू ड्रोन्स टेक्नोलॉजी, आई वांट टू गो फॉर ड्रोन्स, दिस इज वेयर द ड्रोन्स आर, जो तुम्हारा दोस्त है, ठीक है ना. रोबोटिक प्रोसेस ऑटोमेशन, आई वांट टू गो हियर. I want to go into semiconductor chip design. This is different, right? So pick up what you like and go in there, and we will enable you for success. Iski labs, uski interview preparation. In 36 technologies mein, there are more than 90% global economy ये technologies चला रही हैं, 90%. ठीक है? Global economy, यानी global GDP अगर $100 trillion का है, $90 trillion is coming from here. $90 trillion global GDP. And उसकी जो jobs हैं, there are more than 2,000 jobs, 2,000 titles, different titles, right? Which is covered in this core integration framework. So if you train a nation, this is a success blueprint for the nation. It doesn't come through doing AWS certification. It doesn't come through Google certification. No one in this country, in Canada, USA, even in USA, does Google certifications. It's worthless. What they do is like they push it and say, you know what? You have to, and they come to these countries like Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and they say, you have to do these Google certifications. No, you have to harness the power of open source. That's how you establish companies. That's how you get success in companies. That's how you're successful. What is the number one resource that all of these companies are selling, all these cloud companies? Do you know what is the number one resource? AWS, GCP.
Computation power.
That's
Computation
it.
power.
Exactly. That's it. Only computation power. No one buys anything from anyone. If you go online on Google, right? Just go online on Google, right? I'm just going to go quickly, right? So what is the number one source? What is the number one solution that AWS, Azure, and GCP clouds are selling globally, right? Compute, storage, and compute. That's it. And everything is now, right? The number one solution is foundational infrastructure, including storage, compute, database services. Khalas, there is nothing else. No one buys, it's elastic compute. No one buys their other services or Macy, AC, all of these different solutions, IoT, Kinesis, very expensive, right? Selling a seamless integration, like this is all there. And for Azure, it's 365, Office 365, right? Windows Server, no one uses Windows Servers like, Google, it's storage, excels in, but now companies are looking into developing their own solutions, their own AI models and stuff like that. And why is everyone building up a data center? Why? Because they can sell compute storage services.
Yeah,
Right?
the next generation part will be over the computation resources.
The next thing is going to be, but here's the thing, the AI models, everyone is looking at incorrectly. Today, NVIDIA ki earning reports aane wali hain, like, right? It will come at the end of the day. So NVIDIA right now is $4.5 trillion worth of company. 7% of the US stock exchange is managed by NVIDIA. That's a huge, right? Everyone doesn't need to buy NVIDIA expensive hardware. America, OpenAI spent $500 billion making OpenAI, ChatGPT. The Chinese did it for spending $5 million.
Yes,
500 billion, 500 billion. Billion को उर्दू में क्या कहेंगे? What do you call it? Like
अरब, एक
अरब.
अरब. Yes, sir.
500 अरब लगाए, 50 लाख. 50 लाख डॉलर, 500 अरब डॉलर. I mean, it's like mind-boggling, right? ठीक है ना? They developed the model. Chinese did it. Because Chinese model doesn't rely on hardware, right? It relies on the computation of the software and the mathematics and all those things that they did. This is the next generation, right? तुमने टर्मिनेटर मूवी देखी है?
Yes, sir.
उसमें एक चीज होती है, वो स्काईनेट में जाके एक चीज ढूंढ रहा होता है. They always make movies right, by the way, right? वो क्या चीज ढूंढ रहा होता है स्काईनेट में जो उसको चाहिए होती है?
सर अब एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं है, काफी
तुम
अर्सा
लोग
पहले
ऐसी,
देखी.
तुम कौन सी जनरेशन हो तुम? जेनजी?
जी.
जेनजी का बड़ा छोटा सा वो है ना, अटेंशन स्पैन है. ठीक है, तुम लोग टिकटॉक देखते रहते हो. ठीक है, टर्मिनेटर में वो जाता है चिप के लिए.
चिप के.
He's not looking for a big graphics card. He's looking for a smaller chip. What it means is AI future में, ठीक है ना, runs on smaller hardware. It doesn't work on larger, bigger, meaner graphics cards and stuff like that, right? So you have to optimize these applications at the next level. And to do that, तुम्हें इसके लिए अपने उसको वो करना पड़ेगा. So the next frontier in the world is now adoption of AI in the companies, where they are making it much more efficient and effective in all of those things, right? So तुम मॉडल छोटे से छोटा होता चला जाएगा, कम से कम रिसोर्सेज लेगा, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम करेगा. So ये जो सारी इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है दुनिया में क्या अमेरिका में हो रही है, वो जो होता है ना पाकिस्तान में करते हैं ना कि तुमने एक फाइल ली, तुमने घर लिया और मैंने कहा यार मैं तुमसे घर ले लेता हूँ, ठीक है ना, तुमने 1 करोड़ के लिया, मैंने कहा मैं तुम्हें 2 करोड़ देता हूँ, चलो तुम ले लो. तुमने बोलते यार मैं तुम्हें 3 करोड़ का वापस देता हूँ, तो मुझे दे दो. एक दूसरे की फाइलें खरीद रहे हैं. तो एनवीडिया ने ओपन एआई में 500 बिलियन लगाया. ओपन एआई ने कहा मैं तुम्हारे अंदर 500 बिलियन लगाता हूँ, 300-400 बिलियन लगाता हूँ. वो दूसरा आके कहता है मैं तुम्हारे अंदर लगाता हूँ, वो कहता है मैं तुम्हारे अंदर लगाता हूँ. दे आर इन्फ्लेटिंग द एआई बबल.
Yes, sir.
This AI bubble is based on hardware. In reality, the companies are just sitting on the side and saying, what is happening?
Yeah.
The AI needs to be implemented in these solutions, developing these solutions. So you have to build that mindset. It's not the hardware, it's the application and how you design it to be compliant and secure. Samjhe bhai? This is what you need to work on. So if you want to, all of your 3 friends, you have a lot of time, evaluate. Canada gives you 3 years of work permit. Okay, that's good. That can be converted into PR. UK gives you 2 years of work permit. We have to apply for work permit, right? To be on the ILR. Germany does what? All of these countries, shortlist karo. Okay, we got this shortlisted. While you're doing a Razak, completing a Razak program, completing Kubernetes certifications and all of those things, then go for MSc in AI or quantum or something like that. बोलो यार मैं भी करने जा रहे हैं. अब तीनों साथ जाओ, तैयारी करके जाओ, अपनी solutions बना के जाओ, सब कुछ करके जाओ. Then go there. You will
Yes.
secure this.
Okay, sir.
The moment you land in September से पहले सितंबर में तो अक्टूबर नवंबर में जॉब पे बैठे होगे. मैक्सिमम 3-4 महीने बाद जॉब पे बैठे हो.
Inshallah, sir.
That should be your line of sight, your line of strategy. That's what you should follow. ठीक है? चलो, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर. Ask your parents to make special dua for me. Allahumma inni as'aluka shahadatan fil masjid nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah give you more success. And to your other friends as well, all of you, stick together as a brothers, inshallah. Doing very well, inshallah. May Allah give you more success. Just like Mamoon Bashir came to me telling me I secured the visa and everything. We sponsored his visa because he did all the work for us. There's a process that you have to follow, teach, do all of those things, right? And that's how we we provided his sponsorship and everything, mashallah. I think we have now discontinued doing that because of the CFO wants to control everything. But there are many multiple ways of how you can earn, inshallah. We are introducing an affiliate program. तुम उसके ऊपर बात करोगे, हमारे ऊपर बात करोगे, चीज़ें शेयर करोगे. You can earn, inshallah, enough to support yourself, be able to pay your examination fee, your student study fee, your bank statement, all of those things. That program is coming up soon, inshallah, okay? Where you're working, communicating with companies, building up your relationships, all of those things. And under your affiliate, if someone clicks and make a purchase, you get something out of it as well, which is up to 10%, something like that, right? Inshallah, because we are expanding ourselves in 38 countries, inshallah, okay? So Jazakallah khair for your time. May Allah give you more success. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir, I do not have.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka